You know what? That was the kind of music that I danced to when I was your age. That was the man. Anybody who is in the mood for returning to sentiment. That's what that album is called. This man has so many credits, it's unbelievable. He's not only a distinguished actor and a comedian, but he's become extraordinarily well known as one fictional character, and I've often wondered whether or not he's going to be able to live with that the rest of his personal and private career. And from what I learned about 10 minutes ago, it's not going to be any problem at all. A very interesting man, ladies and gentlemen. You know him as Archie Bunker, and we all know him as Mr. Carroll O'Connor. Oh, yes. How are you, sir? Please sit down. Thank you, Dick. You know, somebody asked me once, how come it is you always sit on the albums? They take the albums out. I don't want anybody to realize it. That's the only place I have to store it at the most. Nothing personal, believe me.
Okay, I don't mind anyway.
You know, these kids look at you and they see you weekly on All in the Family, and they see you immediately as Archie Bunker, and they forget the fact that you had a long and illustrious career. Were you always a comedic actor?
No, as a matter of fact, there was a time when I played heavies.
Villains, real toughies?
A lot of villains. I played a lot of villains and toughies, and I've played things like, generals. They're not always villains.
I saw you.
If they're on our side, you know.
Yeah. With a short cropped haircut.
Yes, generals and admirals and judges and lawyers and all of that, and not much comedy.
One time in your life, you weren't doing this sort of thing for for a career. You were a teacher. How did you get into that?
Well, I taught in New York for about 3 years in high schools there when I couldn't get a job as an actor.
You know, a lot of these kids want to be dancers and some want to be actors. Would you discourage anybody from doing that?
No, not a bit, not a bit. But it is a thing that takes a while. I would recommend to anybody that he try to get very good professional advice as to whether he really has talent, and accept that advice too. If somebody says you don't have any, accept it.
Stop then.
But if you get the right kind of professional encouragement that you can really count on, then go ahead with it, and then don't let anybody stop you. And you've got to go through about 10, 12 years, maybe, without earning a dime. And you'll have all the pressure of people saying, oh, get out of that crazy business, get into something that is more stable and something that's more secure and sure. But if you really feel you have it, and good people tell you you have it, then stay with it.
You don't have any regrets, do you?
No, not a bit.
I wouldn't think so. All right, now you've never had a press conference like this in your life. Maybe this will take you back to when you were a teacher now. Was it Jimmy had the first question? Where are you? Well, raise your hand so we can find you. Jim, what is the question? Would you kind of shout it out?
I would like to know, do you improvise while you're taping, or do you follow the script?
No, we improvise while we're rehearsing. We improvise a lot. We follow the script, but we deviate from it. We improvise. We have people taking down what we say, and then we sort it all out, and we use the best of it. But once we get on camera, we can't improvise, because if the camera's on Dick, and he says his line, then the other camera comes to me. Well, if it comes to me and he's still talking because he feels like improvising, then his line is off camera, is probably out of mic too, because the mic comes over to me, see? So you've got
to... Well, that's right. It's all overhead hanging.
Mic is on you, then it switches to me. And if you keep on talking, it's... we don't hear it, but we do hear a sound, and we get a half a shot and a half a sound, and it's... so...
That's what they call being a professional.
Once we go on mic, once we go on camera, we've got to say exactly what's laid out.
Who had the other question? I forgot.
Do you differ in your views from Archie Bunker?
Do you differ in your views from Archie Bunker? Wait a minute, I have a way to do this. That's out of context. That wasn't the next question. I wanted to save that one for a minute, but as long as we're here, if I were to ask you a question as Carroll O'Connor, for instance, let's do an answer from Carroll O'Connor and an answer from Archie Bunker. How do you, Carroll O'Connor, feel about conservation?
Well, I feel very strongly about conservation, and I think that our resources have been used very, very badly and carelessly, and I think we're suffering from it now, and we have to take into account everything we use.
Now,
be careful about replacing things.
Play the part that you're so well known for. How does Archie bunker? Archie, how do you feel about conservation?
What do you mean, saving the trees? And what are you gonna save the trees? You gotta have houses, don't you? Huh? We gotta have houses. The city people, the country people gotta have their outhouses. And you gotta make them out of wood. What are you gonna do? Save the trees? And nobody have no outhouses to go. What would happen in there, huh?
All right. Who had the other one over here? Yes, ma'am.
Do you get along with Rob Reiner when you're off stage?
You and Rob Reiner friends?
Oh yes, we're very close friends. Yes.
You'd never know it from watching him on
No.
television. I got to grab one last one over here, the blonde-haired lady.
Do the kids in school make fun of you with the name like Carroll?
When you were a kid, did they make fun of the first name Carroll?
They sure did. All the time. If they were my size, I could stop it. If they were bigger, I had to live with it.